News with Paul Rosen.
Our diets, our Western diets in America are just really, you just don't realize how poor they really are.
What would you say to others who would like to feel better?
Sometimes you need to find the instruction. That's where the testing and everything comes in, because without that knowledge, there's no way I could have got to the point where I'm at today.
Straight talk about health.
And then I start preaching and telling them what I've been doing. And this guy named Paul Rosen has changed my life.
With your host, Paul Rosen.
By the way, the information contained in this program is not approved by the FDA, nor intended to treat, diagnose, or claim to cure any medical condition or disease as defined by Western medicine. However, skilled practitioners of many disciplines have found nutrition response testing to be a highly reliable supportive technology for assessing the health and fitness of the body's functional system.
Paul, I'm very intrigued by this idea that drinking wine could make us smarter. Now, some of us, by that standard, will be very smart. I guess we'll find out whether or not that's true or whether or not wine really indeed makes you healthier at all among the topics we'll be discussing this hour on Health Matters.
Or you could say, stop whining.
You could do that. That's the easy joke, though.
I know.
To mention wine and have somebody start whining.
But I have to use the easy
crickets.
joke. I'm just not that smart. I got to use the easy joke.
I saw that joke on Mork and Mindy 40 years ago, and I realized there are some jokes
and it was
that
funny
are,
then.
It was funny
now.
40 years ago. Now, not so
Really?
much.
Humor has a time,
Yeah,
an expiration
it does,
date.
as a matter of fact. Some things do, and that would be high on the list right there. Paul, to our topic, what's all this business about red wine? In particular, people have been saying for years that if you take a little bit of alcohol every day, you may be doing your health some good. So we want to talk about alcohol as it relates to wine in general. What is it about wine that may be good for our health, or is it good for our health?
Well, let's get something straight on the front side. Alcohol is not healthy in general. Alcohol is not healthy. Now, there are many forms of alcohol that one might consume, but alcohol itself is definitely not a healthy thing to consume.
Is it a myth, then, to say that a little bit of alcohol is good for us?
It's an oversimplification. It's really an oversimplification. And if you buy into the fact that you're preserving your health by drinking, I've got a piece of the bridge, the Astoria Bridge that I've been selling for years that I'd be happy to, give you a special discount on.
So there's that. But what about wine in particular? It just falls under the same umbrella?
There are clearly some constituents, ingredients, or factors in wine that seem to have, a potentially positive influence on the human body. But the problem is wine also contains alcohol. So could you obtain these ingredients like resveratrol, which has recently been touted as a great antioxidant, for the body? Could you get these ingredients in something that doesn't contain alcohol? Sure, you absolutely can. You can get them in berries. You can get them in other types of vegetables. It's available.
So
now I'm not a teetotaler myself. I don't drink alcohol, and that's because I discovered that for me personally, I'm not an alcoholic, but it absolutely undermines the quality of my life. So I don't do that. I do use some wine in cooking. Absolutely, I do. In marinades, absolutely, I do. But in cooking and in marinades, the alcohol ultimately is evaporated, and you're not consuming the alcohol. So that's cool.
So you're using it for the flavor, I assume. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Let's back up a minute. You mentioned antioxidants, and if those are present in grapes, would they not be present in wine? And let's assume that. You can confirm or deny that. But if that's the case, aren't antioxidants good for us?
Antioxidants are overblown and oversold, right? Because antioxidants are there to preserve. So let's just take an example. Vitamin C has within it a very potent antioxidant. It's called ascorbic acid. Most people believe that ascorbic acid is vitamin C. It is not. I repeat, it is not. The FDA will only allow a supplement company to say that they have vitamin C, that there's vitamin C in the product, whatever it is, if it contains ascorbic acid.
But they're not the same thing.
But they're not the same thing. The antioxidant is actually a factor or an ingredient in vitamin C to preserve the vitamins in, the factors, the various vitamins. There are multiple vitamins in vitamin C, right? Just like there are multiple pieces in an engine, right? You've got pistons, you've got spark plugs, you've got a block, heads, etc., etc. So the thing that is that big lump in your automobile that allows you to develop power to go anywhere is an engine. That's what a vitamin is. An vitamin is a little microscopic engine. And without one piece or the other, it doesn't work.
I'd be willing to bet that most, like me, did not know that until this moment, that vitamin C is actually composed of multiple vitamins.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Vitamin P, vitamin J, vitamin K. We've talked about that in the vitamin show when we do that in many instances.
So for the red wine, though, what about proteins? I'm reading information right now that says these particular proteins in wine may be good for brain power. They may increase memory, for example.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem with reading articles and of course with science in general. Somebody comes out and finds out a very small part of the picture, and then when it's published in an effort to make it important, maybe over dramatizes the effect. I mean, proteins, carbohydrates, and fats are absolutely essential to any human being.
But you can get those elsewhere.
But you can get them elsewhere.
So you don't necessarily need to reach for that delicious bottle of wine.
Is a glass of wine really tasty? Absolutely. Do I think that every single person has a problem with a glass of wine now and again? No, I don't. As I said, I use wine for cooking. But if you're not doing well, if your health is compromised in any way, with symptoms that come and go or come and stay, and if you're thinking, you read an article that says red wine is good for your heart, then you're just being bamboozled. As a clinician, this simply isn't true. I have never prescribed, ever, for any person suffering from any heart condition, red wine. I've never done it. There's a reason I've never done it. Because the certainty is that they wouldn't improve.
Here's something we have not heard in some time.
Let's make Paul mad.
So this may make you mad, Paul. I'm waiting to hear your reaction.
Okay,
According to the Journal of Biological Chemistry, and who doesn't get that in their mailbox every month?
Just happened. No, I don't.
They say there may be compounds in wine which retard the growth of fat cells. So the conclusion they draw from that is if you drink wine, you will destroy the fat in your body and stay slim.
Oh, my gosh. I have that piece of the Memorial Bridge that I've been selling, and for you and you alone, I've got a 30% special this morning. Are you in?
No, actually. And you did not get mad at that information. You just kind of
it's just
said
the
no.
problem. I mean, if you think that you're going to lose weight, via drinking wine, I mean, there's no hope. There's no hope there. That's just crazy.
I think we're all inclined to believe what we want to believe. So almost everybody likes wine. Who doesn't, as you indicated, like a glass of wine? But here's my point, Paul. Here's my point.
Yeah.
If we hear things we want to hear about wine, such as that it will make us healthy by providing antioxidants, or it will help us stay slim by destroying fat cells, I think many just read that and say, good, I'm in.
Absolutely. I get that. But, if you hear somebody talking about the upsides of wine, other than it might loosen you up a bit from, not being so tight and tense. And maybe for that alone, it's
why are you looking at me when you say that? I thought I was so relaxed this morning.
No, I'm not. It's the person behind you.
And, actually what tensed me up a little bit was that I went to get coffee this morning, and I know you have some comments or some ideas about my overt coffee drinking, the fact that I may drink too much coffee. I actually taped you earlier, Paul, when I went to get coffee. This is what you said.
Put that coffee down.
And it was actually too late. I'd already enjoyed the coffee myself.
No. I mean, coffee, this is another one. Coffee, when you have a product, particularly a food product, and you're looking for ways to sell it, certainly finding some information somewhere touting the upsides of that, product is something you're going to latch onto and promote.
Well, and you know what? I'm not into that so much. I just like the taste of coffee. So I
love the smell of coffee. In fact, we do some things in the office with essential oils, because essential oils are a big fatty thing right now. And the problem is most people, even though there's all these, self, how to do's and so forth, and people are misusing essential oils and doing all kinds of crazy stuff that they don't really understand. But we put together a vanilla coffee air freshener, which is
vanilla coffee air freshener,
which is just just imagine a fresh vanilla mocha latte.
It sounds almost vaguely wrong, like that spray stuff you can use to make your car smell like it's a new car.
Yeah, in this case, it's an essential oil in a base, either water or vodka, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
It's an oil and vodka, and that produces a coffee smell?
No, the essential oil. Coffee has oils.
Oh, it's derived from vodka?
It's an essential oil.
Okay, I see.
So it's the oil from coffee, and it's the oil from vanilla.
So go to AccuNatural.com, and you may be able to get the great smell of coffee in your home without actually brewing some.
There are so many ways to handle, the synthetic fragrances that people put up, in those product like Glade products and that type of stuff. Is just killing them one in breath at a time. And you can do amazing things with essential oils, and not only make an attractive perfume in the air, but absolutely with no side effects or no risks whatsoever. So it's pretty cool.
That is very cool. Again, that's
so back to wine. The thing about wine is, and I'm not advocating that nobody drink wine. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that if your health is compromised in some way, do not get sucked into the idea that wine is somehow going to be a therapy. Right? It just isn't. It just isn't. So, let's separate the entertainment factor from the from the rest of it. And although yes, there's certainly historical information about the Romans and the Greeks and the Egyptians and whatnot using wine for medicinal purposes. I get that, but there are other ways, generally speaking, to arrive at those benefits. Specifically, finding out what your unique nutritional deficiencies and barriers to healing are, without using an alcoholic beverage.
Here's another cause and effect too, Paul. The Mediterranean diet has been thought by many to be healthy for you. It's found that many who go with wine as part of their meals also have Mediterranean diets. So maybe the benefit isn't really from the wine, it's more from the Mediterranean flavor of their meals in the first place.
And this is why studies like this are really very difficult to put much weight into, because there are so many variables, right? So many variables. It's very difficult to do a large study of people and make all of the variables equal across the board, less one, and so forth. And then when you take the uniqueness of each individual, it makes it even harder.
And you've spoken too, Paul, about how some of these studies may be a little bit dubious. According to CNN, they're a pretty good source, CNN, some of these studies showing that compounds in wine may be good for our health involve studies with mice, as they often do. These mice were given incredible amounts of wine, the equivalent of 8 to 10 bottles of wine, to produce the positive health effects that were registered as being the results of the study. I'm surprised the mice just didn't die completely.
Yeah. Well, they were probably so incapacitated that, yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah,
I mean,
those were
the problem with something like wine and promoting the health benefits is that oftentimes there are as many downsides in studies as there are upsides, right? And here's a study that says that liquor may help your libido, but anybody who's been really drunk, really imbibed, knows that isn't true, right? Plus, for men, it has been shown in a study or two that it actually decreases your fertility.
Well, that's probably possible. It could be that liquor increases your desire, but doesn't enhance your libido if you get...
ultimately, if you get drunk enough, you don't care about any of it. So, is that a health benefit?
No, and
one day, maybe in a life, it might be. Life can be overwhelming. I get that. But to promote the health benefits of wine as if, individuals could utilize wine to address various kinds of, maladies is well, it's short-sighted.
Yeah, I would think so. But I also would think that maybe people who make wine are not discouraging the idea that this stuff is good for us.
You could separate the alcohol from the other constituents in the wine, which, as I said, is what happens when you cook with wine, when you use wine in various ways in foods, which is absolutely no problem whatsoever. No problem.
Don't go drinking 8 or 10 bottles of wine like lab mice and expect positive results. Also, use wine when you're cooking for flavor and for other effects that wine can provide for you to make you a better cook. One more note, you can get a free chapter of Paul Rosen's book, The Missing Piece. Just go to his website, acunatural.com, acunatural.com, and fill out the dialog box that pops up. Rest assured, no information you provide will ever be shared with anyone else. So, what are you waiting for? Get going on your personal road to wellness today.